Hey Glams, welcome to Glamour and Brains. I'm your host Aja Yassir. This show features all things beauty, fashion, and business. I'm going to be bringing you all things glamour. And of course, with glamour, you have to have brains. Are you ready to make as much money as you want from the comforts of your home or from anywhere in the world? Well, join the Simple Beauty Naturals family by starting your own Simple Beauty Naturals franchise. Make incredible unlimited income with natural vegetarian skincare products that won't kill you. Simple Beauty Naturals is the gold standard skincare and cosmetic system, and our franchisees are gold standard certified beauty consultants. Go to www.simplebeautynaturals.com to apply to be one of our franchisees. You deserve to live the life you want. And now, today's episode of Glamour and Brains. Glams, welcome to Glamour and Brains. Oh my goodness, I just got off the line with James Vincent, celebrity makeup artist James Vincent. He does not like to be called a celebrity makeup artist, but for lack of a better term, I'm going to have to use the term celebrity makeup artist. He's worked with Lady Gaga, the huge group TLC. He's worked with Amy Winehouse, and the list goes on and on and on. And guys, you may want to pull out a tissue or a napkin because this is a tearjerker. Yes, we're talking about the beauty industry and the fabulous stuff that goes on behind the scenes in the beauty industry, but we're also getting deep into some issues with women and beauty. You have to listen to this show. If you are in the makeup industry, or if you're interested in being in the makeup industry, the beauty industry, the fashion industry, you need to go to the Makeup Show's website to find out when they'll be in your town. I'm from Chicago, so I know they'll be in Chicago November 7th and 8th, and I'll be there. And of course, James Vincent will be there, and there are going to be some great speakers, some workshops, some wonderful brands, and you just need to be there. You need to get rid of everything on your schedule and make sure you're in Chicago at the Makeup Show, November 7th and 8th. But hold on to your seats, guys. Now you can listen to my interview with James Vincent. Thank you so much for joining us, James. I know your schedule is very busy. We were discussing what's going on in your life before we started up, and you just got married. Congratulations.
Thank you.
Tell us a little bit about yourself and your career as a makeup artist.
I've been doing makeup now for about 20 years, maybe a little longer, and I say that I'm an accidental makeup artist. I didn't go to school for makeup. My background is social work. I just kind of fell into makeup, but I knew that when I found makeup that I had kind of found my tribe, you know? And I've been working now as a professional makeup artist in all areas of the industry. I know many makeup artists kind of focus on one thing, but for me, I've done television, I've done fashion and film and music videos and editorial, and I also am a big advocate for makeup education and makeup community, which is kind of what I try and do with the Makeup Show.
Now, you say you found your tribe. Why is that?
I think for me, I think makeup for me was what it was for a lot of people, or the makeup industry for me was what it was for a lot of people. I think I always kind of felt very creative. I lived in a small place. I grew up in Providence, Rhode Island, which is, Rhode Island is the smallest of the 50 states. So it's not really a huge, huge hub for artistry or fashion. Well, actually it is. I don't know. It is because Rhode Island School of Design is there and there are so many colleges. But the idea that I would kind of grow up in the neighborhood I grew up in and then kind of go on to meet celebrities or work in TV or film seemed like an impossible dream. And I was just in school for social work, and I kind of thought that my path would be go to school, find a job, buy a house, that kind of thing. And instead, when I was in school, I we started a camp for children with HIV, and the Body Shop Skin and Hair Care came in and kind of looked at what we were doing, and they wanted to develop some programs that were like the camps we were doing at Brown, and then they hired me to work in the stores. Anita Roddick, who created the company, was part of the camp, and she hired me to work in the stores to develop community outreach. And it was like once I started working with hair care, with skincare, with makeup, I would say Oprah Winfrey and the alcoholics would call it my aha moment, where all of a sudden I kind of just knew what I was supposed to do. And then I loved the idea of connecting with people with makeup. You know, as a social worker, I loved the one on one, but with makeup, it was like I could deal with people in a different way and then at the end have them feeling better than they had ever felt. And so for me, that was my tribe. You know, these were other people that I had found that loved makeup, that loved beauty, that loved diversity, and that kind of wanted to explore that through makeup artistry.
Your celebrity makeup artist career really kicked off when you started working with TLC. Am I right?
Yeah, that was really my first celebrity clients were well, Pebbles and then TLC. But really, you know, I was so young at the time and so kind of inexperienced. And what working for LaFace and working with TLC allowed me to do was also assist other makeup artists like Billy B, who became a huge mentor to me and really kind of took me under his wing, and to this day is still such a huge mentor and friend. Um, and I think I got to work with, you know, back in the day in the 90s, living in Atlanta, working for LaFace, it was kind of a who's who: TLC, Salt Peppa, Monica, DeBrat, Escape. Gladys Knight was in Atlanta at the time. Halle Berry was in Atlanta at the time. Coretta Scott King. Atlanta was really a wonderful place to kind of start my career. And then I was also part of the team that launched MAC throughout the southern part of the US. And MAC really tutored me, they mentored me, they provided so much education for me. MAC really changed my life. I'd never been on an airplane, I had never traveled outside the country, I had never spoken in front of huge groups of people, and MAC kind of molded me. And when I started with MAC, I think there were only 3 locations on the East Coast. And so I was part of the team that kind of launched them throughout, from North Carolina down to Florida, over to Texas, into Chicago. Um, so it was kind of simultaneously exploring artistry as a freelancer and having Mac, you know, back in the day before the Estee Lauder buyout, as like this kind of, you know, opportunity. And then I left Atlanta because Urban Decay hired me, and they moved me to New York City, and I launched Urban Decay here, and then was continued doing mostly music videos and things like that. So,
James,
but yeah,
you've had a fabulous career. But you make it sound so matter of factly and so easy. I want to know how you landed that position originally with Pebbles from TLC with TLC.
she, well, she had come, and you know, and the funny thing is, like for me, she was such a huge person in my career, and she probably doesn't even know who I am. You know, it's like one of those moments with a celebrity or with an editor or a photographer where just being good at what you do kind of gets all of this stuff going. And she had come into the makeup counter looking for a concealer, and I just said to her, I think you need to color correct, and kind of showed her some different ways of color correction, got rid of the discoloration under her eyes, and that was just it. And then I started working with LaFace and then working with Billy, and it was just from there, doors just kept opening. But I think I don't talk about it in a way that seems like I'm impressed by it, not because I don't think I've accomplished a lot. I think I do, you know, at this point in my career, I've worked with everyone, I always say, from Lady Gaga to Barack Obama.
Mm-hmm.
But the thing that I think makes it so different is um, I'm learning every day. Like I love my job. So, and I love what I do. And I never use the term celebrity makeup artist because I work with celebrities. But for me, I always say like, we're caregivers. We are hired help. You know, we're caregivers. We take care of people in their most intimate moments. We deal with all of their insecurities. we deal with women, especially if you do bridal or private client, you're working with people on these very important moments of their life. So to get caught up in the title of celebrity or, look at it that way is weird. It always feels different to me. I always say, my job is to take care of the people that I'm working with. So when I don't mean to sound nonchalant because I do feel very blessed to have done all of these things. I just feel like part of my job is to be behind the scenes.
You sound so in tune with women. You're the second guy we've had on the show. You're so in tune with women. I know you concentrated in women's studies at Brown University. Why did you concentrate in that?
Well, even that was such I don't want to bore you, but even that was such a big opportunity for me because I grew up in a family that is so large. If you come from one of those large families, I grew up in a family that was very large. And so I grew up with my grandmothers and my aunts and my mom kind of always around. I grew up in a mixed family. So the idea of beauty was also very different. I think that when I was young, because I'm in my 40s, so when I was young, there was not a family that looked like us in the White House. There were not black models on the cover of magazines. There were not Latin women winning Emmys. There were not Asian models anywhere. So it was a very kind of white beauty ideal. And I think that I always wanted to know, why didn't I see my stepsisters on magazine covers or my aunts or my cousins? Why was it so hard for them to be able to go to the store and get something that fit their skin? Why were they all, wearing a souffle foundation that was 2 shades too dark or 2 shades too light? Because no one was meeting their needs. And I never understood why we weren't looking at our women and kind of celebrating them. And so I was in school for social work at Rhode Island College. It was a state school that had a great social work program, and it was perfect for me because I was working my way through school. And then Mamie Oliver, another person who probably influenced my life in such a great way, who doesn't even know who I am. She was at Rhode Island College and also at Brown University. And so she said, there's this great women's studies program. We think you'd be great for it. And I really started working with Brown to help them develop their camps and their kind of community outreach at their community outreach center, and had so many amazing professors who were thinking in a different way about the role of women. And so I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, to kind of focus on my thesis on women of color and the white beauty myth. Like, how does the idea that this kind of blonde, blue-eyed, white beauty mentality affect our women of color in a country that's so diverse? And so women's studies has always been a part of my career. And even now with Art and CN, which is my line, it really is about meeting the needs of women of all skin tones. So all of our products are pigmented in a way that from the lightest to the darkest skin, they not only work, they will be the same color. Because I think for too long people ignored, women. It was more like an industry to make money without meeting the needs of the people who were the clients.
You
I don't
just
know.
you just said you wrote your thesis on women of color and the light beauty myth. What
A white beauty. Yeah.
the light beauty myth? I mean, white beauty myth. I'm sorry. What facts did you discover about how ethnic women relate to beauty only being assigned to having lighter skin?
I think that unfortunately was something that we always saw. I think growing up in a mixed family, my family is Cape Verdean, which is an African colony that's part of Portugal. And in the Northeast, where I grew up in Rhode Island and in southern Massachusetts, Cape Verdeans are very popular, and Portuguese and Italian communities are very popular. And you didn't see even women with dark hair, let alone dark skin. So I think that there was this kind of celebration, this paper bag test of beauty standards where people would use the terms when I was growing up, like, oh, she has good hair or bad hair, or, they would, not in my family because it was such a kind of mixed bag of skin tones. But I remember when I moved to Atlanta, it was like a punch in the stomach because it was really about judging someone's attractiveness based on their ability to look more Caucasian in a way, in my mind, and I never understood that, why someone would want to contour a nose or make a lip look smaller or, make their hair look other than its natural state, to fit into someone else's standards. I love the idea that, hey, I want to relax my hair and put in extensions because I want to do it because that's what makes me feel beautiful. But I think when I was growing up, it wasn't that. It was like, I need to look like this because this is the way I'm supposed to look. I remember when I was in school, um, it was just no one was talking about natural hair. No one was talking about natural beauty. No one was meeting the needs, especially of our African American community or Latina communities. And I just wondered why. Why, when there are so many women out there that are concerned about beauty, that are concerned with wellness, why was no one saying, this is a beautiful African face or this is a beautiful African American face, instead of trying to take it and manipulate it and bastardize it into a beauty standard that is so whitewashed? It just would make me angry. And so I think I wanted to explore that and why we were placing value on our lighter skinned children. And I had a weird moment in Chicago a few years ago that kind of brought it all home. Tell me if I'm talking too long,
No,
but
you're not.
when I was in Chicago a few years ago, we did our first makeup show, and one of the girls who is one of my dear friends who works with me in Chicago, Kimberly Williamson, is an amazing makeup artist and hairstylist, and very like Chicago girl. She just tells you, Kimberly always tells me, James, other people do what they can. We do what we want. We're in Chicago. And she just tells it like it is. And so I was there, and Bethany Towns, who's another amazing makeup artist who works with me a lot. Bethany does 5 TV shows for MTV. She does hair and makeup for so many big people. And we were working together, and people said, you and Bethany really favor each other. And I was 36 years old at the time. And I said, yeah. I said, Bethany and I have the same mix. So we have similar features, similar skin tones. And Kimberly said, James, Bethany is black and you're white. And I was like, what? And she was like, Bethany is black and you are white. And I was like, oh. Like, it kind of was like in my middle 30s where I started seeing myself through my own eyes. Because I think I always was kind of seen a certain way because of the family that I grew up in. And I think that distorts us sometimes. And I think that I kind of have privilege on so many sides, because of the way that I was raised and because of the skin tone that I was born with and because of the communities that I live in. And I really wanted to say, like, well, how are we still dealing with this? If I am someone who is an expert on complexion and I'm not really seeing myself, how are our other artists and clients seeing themselves? Are they seeing their true selves, or are they seeing what they've been socialized to believe is beautiful? You know what I mean? And I don't know, and I think that's why with the makeup show this year, I really want to explore that. And so we're launching a new keynote in Chicago called "The Skin That I'm In," that talks about the needs of our communities of color in the beauty community, and are we meeting their needs? Are we listening to their voices, and are we giving them what they want and need? And that was because of when I was in Chicago a few years ago. It really changed the way I look at life.
Well, Chicago will do that. The number one segregated city in the United States will definitely do that to you.
Do
Why?
you know how much trouble I get in there all the time? I mean, not only racially segregated, but socioeconomically
Yes.
segregated. And I think that, and again, I don't mean to toot my own horn, but I think that the makeup shows coming to Chicago has started to build a community in what was once a very competitive makeup city. But it's my little stepchild of a show because it's the slowest to grow and change because Chicago is slow to grow and change, and it's such an important city for us. And you know Chicago is considered not only to be one of the best cities in the country for hair, makeup, salon, and spa services, but one of the best in the world. And the Chicagoland and Midwest communities are so strong. I knew we needed to bring the show there, but I think the message needs to be very different because the needs of the artist community and makeup community are very different.
Well, in addition to what you're doing with the makeup show and your line, what can the beauty industry do to kind of combat the issue of the lighter skin or white skin is more beautiful than darker skin?
That is That is such a huge question. And I think what we need to do is teach our daughters and our sons what respect is and what diversity is. We are not raising our children to find beauty necessarily in what they see in front of them. But I think in this age of social media and reality TV, again, it's such a bastardized message. Boys are raised to believe that, long straight hair and Kardashian contours are somehow the way to look, or a big booty is the thing to look for. And so we have all of these women that are unhappy in their bodies. They go to a makeup counter and they are mismatched, and so they're unhappy with their beauty. They go to a hair salon that doesn't know how to work with their hair, and they are unhappy with their hair, and then you start to internalize that. And so I really think it starts with youth. We really have to tell our children, you are strong and you are beautiful for who you are. And if you choose to wear makeup, because makeup is not a necessity, or if you choose to change your natural hair into something else, you need to use product and find product and brands that support you and that cater to you. I had an experience in Chicago. Again, you have these moments in your life that change you forever. But I was doing a terrible TV show at the time called, oh God, I can't remember the name of the show. But anyway, we would go around the country and do makeovers. And there were four hosts for the show. And one of them that I was partnered with is a beautiful TV host and DJ and radio DJ and personality named Egypt. And Egypt Sherrod was just the best. She's my sister in this industry. And we were flown out to Chicago to do a TV show where a little girl was asking for a makeover. And so we didn't know the details on it. We just showed up in Joliet and like, we're ready to do this makeover. And it ended up being the most beautiful 11-year-old girl who was from a mixed family. And her mother, who was Caucasian, just kind of didn't know how to take care of her hair. And so she was teased and kind of tormented at school. And she would say, like, I just hate my hair. I want to have beautiful hair like my mother's, who was, this had blonde Caucasian hair. And Egypt and I were just gutted. It was like, this was one of the most beautiful children I've ever seen in my life. And she was tormented because her hair wouldn't naturally do the things that her mother's would. And her mother didn't take the time or, prioritize it to teach her to take care of her or do the research to know what she had to do to maintain her hair. And so what the mother did was she took her to a white salon. They chemically relaxed her hair. And no one told this girl, 11-year-old who loved to swim, that she shouldn't swim. And watching that little beautiful child be so devastated by the bullying that happened because of the hair she was born with, and watching her struggle under a mother who was so detached from the fact that her daughter was beautiful and too lazy to do the work required to take care of her hair, like, it just made me angry. And that really kind of pushed me forward and said, I need to make sure that our women of color, our African American women are taken care of. We live in a country where we say in the US there are 37 shades of black skin. In the UK, they say there are 52. We still only have 12 shades in our foundation ranges. So who's taking care of these women? Who is prioritizing these women? And that little girl changed the way I think about it. And it spurred me forward. And I said, this is a discussion that is not easy, but it is a discussion that needs to happen. And I don't know, I just try and do whatever I can, but I think the discussions need to happen in the home. I remember those moments with my, cousins between their mother's legs while their hair was getting done for church or whatever. And it's like, that's where it happens. That's where it passes on. When someone is doing your hair and they're telling you, like, these are traditions that have been passed down for generations. That smell of lavender, that hot comb, and you say, we're doing this, but your hair is beautiful the way it is, and you are beautiful the way you are. And that's what I think needs to happen. Until our mothers feel beautiful, how can our daughters? I know this is such a huge topic for me that I go off on tangents. But I think it really starts from open communication and a reprogramming of our socialization of what's beautiful. And that from the lightest to the darkest skin, we're looking and saying, this is beautiful because individuality is beautiful. You know, does that make sense? I don't know.
It makes perfect sense, and I think you are creating a tearjerker episode, James. I think you're creating a tearjerker episode, but this is something that definitely needs to be discussed. And I know you're doing a workshop on it. You just mentioned, what day is that in Chicago? Which one?
Oh, I don't have the schedule in front of me. I'm so
Oh,
sorry.
no problem.
It's up on the website at themakeupshow.com. It's a new keynote that we're doing, and it is called The Skin That I'm In. Right now, it is AJ Crimson, Ashanta Sharif, and Viviana Martin, and myself. And I probably will have some other special guests there. And we will really be discussing what are some of our favorite products, what are some of our favorite techniques, and what is the reality facing our clients of color and our artists of color in a world that is so diverse. It is inexcusable that in a Midwest market where there is so much diversity, that artists are not able to cater to every client that sits in their chair. It is unacceptable. You cannot call yourself a professional makeup artist if you can only work on the skin tone that you have yourself. And so I think like I'm approaching it from a very positive place, and it really angers me and saddens me that in 2015, where we have a first lady who is so gorgeously herself, that we still have makeup artists that would be unable to do her skin tone. I did the Serena Williams show for Fashion Week this year, and Serena is one of those people who just blows me away with her beauty and her strength and her drive and her talent. This is someone who had just stepped off a major tennis stage where she had a loss, and then stepped into Fashion Week where she was literally designing. She's so actively involved in every piece, from the makeup to the hair to the shoe. And I'm doing all of this beautiful work with Serena Williams. She's standing next to me. You bask in her glow. Like, she is that kind of talent and that kind of beauty. And do you know what I saw on Instagram posts?
What?
People bashing her. People
Wow.
saying, "Oh, she has a masculine body," or "She has this." And I thought, how dare you? How dare you attack someone who is an inspiration to so many, people of all sexes, all races, all backgrounds, and bash her for an athletic body or for the way she chose to wear her hair or whatever it is, instead of celebrating her achievements? And then I thought, how many women go through every day where they're not winning tennis awards or showing for Fashion Week, and no one celebrates them for who they are? And so that's what I want to talk about in this workshop, in this keynote. I want to talk about the what of product, the needs of product, the actuals. And I want to talk about the why. That's a little less tangible. Why are we still stooping so low when we should be raising our women to new, and our makeup wearers, to new places and new heights, and celebrating that. Celebrating. I love when I have someone with a skin tone that I've never worked with in my chair. After 20 years, when I see a skin tone I've never seen, I jump up and down. Not really, because I'm fat. I would make a lot of noise. I get really excited. I look at it and I say, what a beautiful skin tone. What a beautiful eye. My makeup is not about correcting or changing or focusing on a negative. I don't look at what do I need to cover. I look and I say, what needs to be celebrated here? What needs to be brought out? What is going to make this person feel as beautiful as possible? And that is the message of the makeup show. It's about inspiration, it's about influence, and it's about the artistry that allows you to celebrate every client that sits in your chair and build a kit that allows you to service every person who sits in your chair. And those are the things that we'll be talking about in the keynote, The Skin That I'm In.
You mentioned a makeup artist contouring and doing corrective, like they're doing corrective surgery almost. And you also mentioned Kim Kardashian. What do you think about all of this contouring? Oh my God.
Well, I'm going to go on record right here and say I think Kim Kardashian, whatever I agree with about reality TV, I do think Kim Kardashian always looks beautiful. I think that she has a team of makeup people that understand how to properly contour, and they really make her look the way she wants to look for a look that has become her signature. I think, again, what has happened is that people do not know how to achieve that. And they think if they buy a contour palette or they watch a YouTube video, they're going to be able to achieve this look. So when I say like keeping up with the Kardashians with contour, it isn't a bash necessarily on Kim and her sisters. It's the people who have not elevated their application to that level. Do you know what I mean? Her makeup artists are talented, but there are too many people out there now that don't understand the why. Contour is part of every makeup that we do. The job of every makeup artist is to look at light and to look at dark and say what needs to be happen. Contour happens in a photography, in a photographic situation. But contour for every day is a delicate balance and an accurately applied, very precise piece of makeup work. And I think people have come to a point now in our modern day where they think they just rub brown makeup below their cheekbone and they call it contour, but that's not what it is. It is an artist's understanding of light and shadow that elevates the makeup to a new level. And so, yes, I contour probably in every application because you're looking at light and you're looking at life and you're looking at how you're going to lift something. You're not just drawing a brown stripe on the face. And so I think the problem is not that people are contouring. The problem is that they do not know how to contour and that they are following a Pied Piper, of makeup ideology right now, influenced by Instagram and YouTube, that doesn't necessarily. Not every person who's showing them these tips and techniques has a credible understanding of contour and artistry.
How
Is
do
that is that a diplomatic answer?
Yes, definitely, definitely. But there are so many people looking at these YouTube videos and watching the pictures that people post on Instagram. How would people know who the credible makeup artists are and who the amateurs, for lack of a better term, are?
I think you have to do your due diligence. You have to say, um, I think you have to look and you have to say, first of all, is this aesthetically pleasing? Do I look at this makeup and do I say this is something beautiful? Makeup needs to be beautifully balanced. Makeup is not about even. Makeup isn't about making something even, it's about making something balanced in my mind. So you have to look at each makeup and say, am I seeing an entire face here? Am I seeing an entire woman? Am I seeing an entire man? Am I seeing, everything that needs to happen? And so I think when you look at YouTube or Instagram, there is so much talent coming off of the internet. I am not one of those artists who bashes social, makeup artists who have made their careers on social media, because I think that growing up in a small place for me, I love the idea that someone is using YouTube or Instagram or another platform to have their voices heard. But as an audience, we have to step back and say, does this speak to me? Is this what I need to be professional? And is it where I want to go? Last season, I keyed a show called, I won't tell you what, but I keyed a show for a reality star, and the amount of makeup that she wanted just isn't in something that I find aesthetically pleasing. And I choose not to do those kind of shows. I think that you have to do what feels right to you. And so I think it's the same with what you're watching or reading or following. If you're looking at it and it doesn't feel right, then that's not someone that you should be following. But then there are people like Rennie Vasquez, who spoke at Chicago last year, who is a dear friend of mine and a huge inspiration to me, who does all of the work. He educates himself constantly. He is always, speaking to his mentors and kind of making strides in his career. And he's doing Jennifer Lopez, and he's doing Serena Williams, and he's doing Michelle Williams. And he has a very huge following on Instagram. That is someone who inspires me with what he does. It isn't over the top. It isn't a cut crease and a contour and a six sets of lashes and an eyebrow. It's an artist who understands the whys and hows and the fundamentals of artistry and has managed to develop his own style, a beautiful application style that shouldn't be lumped in with maybe some of the other things that are happening. I don't know. It's such a long answer, and I'm so long-winded, I apologize. But I think that if you are looking to YouTube or Instagram or social media for your makeup education, you have to do your due diligence and kind of vet every person and say, what is their background? What is their education? Are they a working makeup artist? Have they achieved the things that I want to do? Same with taking a class. I tell people, don't take a class with me if you don't know what I've done. Why would you take a class from someone if you don't value what they're saying, if you don't know why they're credible? There has got to be a credibility check for the people that you look to as mentors, as educators, as inspiration.
What
Sorry
modern
for
No, I mean, I'm loving this interview. I'm loving it. What
once we start with the women's studies thing, I just get on a soapbox.
Oh, no problem at all. Because I think it's like I said before, it's definitely a conversation that we need to have. Definitely one. And I'm looking forward to the makeup show this year, as I mean, every year. But what modern makeup trend excites you the most?
Oh God, there are so many. I think the thing that I'm loving right now is the complexions that are kind of coming down the runways and that we're seeing on the red carpet. I love the return to a more minimal makeup application. I think reality TV has kind of skewed our thoughts on what is flattering. I don't like to see makeup. I like to see skin. I also think that for the next few seasons in fashion, it is a fuller, denser brow, which I love. I'm so tired of the makeup artist, like overdrawn linear eyebrow. So I love the idea of this softer, fuller brow that has color and texture and light and still has a presence to it. And I am always a fan of a cat eye. We're seeing so much of that for the next few seasons. But my clients are people like Amy Winehouse was my client and Joan Jett is my client. So I love those beautiful cat eyes, and I think they're so flattering for so many people. And today's products are so long wear that they allow women to bring them across, or makeup wearers to bring them across and get the ideal, makeup look that lasts all day. So I guess I would say complexion, the softer but still very present brow, and cat eyeliners. I love a black eyeline. I always, it's kind of my signature. And I love that we're seeing it for the next few seasons. I also love the kind of return to grunge. I'm a 90s kid, and so I love that. I always think about that story from Vogue that Grace Coddington did with early Marc Jacobs designs, and it was like Naomi Campbell and Kristen McMenemy in like plaid. And I love that image. Naomi is one of my favorite faces, and Kristen is one of my favorite faces, and that kind of burgundy lip, and I just love it. So I love the return to grunge. I think that when grunge was happening, we had the Riot Girl movement that was so much about the strength of women. And I kind of love that coming back to fashion and beauty, like individual strength, women stepping back and saying, we're here and this is what I look like. And you just have to embrace it.
Now, if everybody is not excited about the makeup show now, I I don't know what's wrong with them. Why do people need to be at the makeup show? I know Chicago is November 7th and 8th. Why do they need to be there?
I think, you know, I think they need to be there for many reasons. I think that what happens in Chicago is a lot of people think of it as a shopping show. So they want to come. Yeah, it is. It's discount 50, 60, 70% off brands like Makeup Forever, MAC, Tem2, um, Crown Brush, Obsessive Compulsive Cosmetics. There's so many brands that are there with us that people love to get the product. I think it's a great place to see new products and innovations. Senna's new brow gels, I'm obsessed with. They have them at the show. Makeup Forever is launching new product. Tem2 is launching their new Tem2 Air, which is a very easy way for artists to airbrush if they've always been intimidated by airbrushing. And the discounts are there. It's a huge savings on building your kit. But I think the bigger piece of it is the relationships and the education. Shop, buy the product that you need to buy. But the people that are there at the show are not the people that stand in the department stores. These are the owners of the brands. These are the hiring executives. They're the international artists. They're the people who you want to get their business card because you want to build a relationship with them. Turner from Makeup Forever, who oversees their pro. Viviana from Kevin Aucoin. Jackie at Tem2. These are the people who help you build your presence and build your kits and give you those sponsorships. And so I think that's the way you want to work. We also have a career fair for the first time in Chicago. if you cannot get your foot in the door and meet the people at MAC Cosmetics, at Makeup Forever, at Kevin Aucoin, and you want to land those positions, this is a great way to do it. I think you see artists there, Emmy winners like Melanie Mills, Academy Award and Emmy nominees like Sharn Richards from London Brush Company, Rochar, painting for Makeup First, Matthew. It's just there are so many makeup artists that are there just kind of showing their thing. Danessa Myricks will be launching her new lash line there in Chicago. Orlando Santiago, Bethany Towns are with me educating. You want to get to know these people. You want them to become your mentors. You want to work with them to find your own path and build your own career. So it is not just about shopping. It is about the relationships, and it is 2 days of free education, 2 days of inspiration, 2 days of people who understand you, your tribe. I get it. If you're a single mom trying to raise your kids, on a makeup artist's income, there are people there who are doing it and who have done it. If you are that person who never fit in school and you finally found an outlet for your creativity, there are people there who have lived that reality. If you are someone who is an entrepreneur and you just are looking for a way to not work for someone else, there are people there that can help you do that. So I think that it really is about finding your people and your path at this show and finding the pieces that help you put your makeup career in place, whether it's your makeup kit, whether it's your goal setting, or whether it's giving you that kick in the butt that Chicago needs sometimes to say, we are a major player in the beauty and fashion industries, and we are no longer going to settle for the fact that when a big job comes in, they bring in someone from New York or LA. You are a city where you've got had Reggie Wells there for years. Sam Fine is from there. Tia is there. Like you've got Tia Dancer living in your city. You've got so many makeup artists that are there that are doing it. And all I hear sometimes in Chicago is woulda, shoulda, couldas. And I say, when you've got a Sam Fine who stepped out of your city and made himself the biggest in the business, how do you sit back and wait? You should be saying, I want to do that. I want to have that. I can be that, and so that's my goal with Chicago, is to come and give a big bear hug and say, we know that there are struggles in your makeup community there, but we want to help give you the pieces and introduce you to the people that can put you on the right path. It's even if you come in and you take 2 classes, it's worth the price of admission. Even if you come in and you have one conversation with someone like a Danessa Myricks or a Michael DeVellis from the Powder Group, and it changes the way you think about your future, it's worth the price of admission. And even if you just want to come for the parties and hang out and have a drink with me, it's worth the price of admission. So,
Speaking of having a drink with you, how can people get in touch with you outside of just going to the makeup show?
you can always, I'm always on social media, on Instagram and Periscope and Twitter. I'm at J Vincent Makeup, the letter J, Vincent Makeup. Or you can always email me if there's something specifically. Info at the makeup show comes directly to me. They make sure if I'm not in the office that I get, because honestly, sometimes I get so many Facebook messages every day, especially before a show, that I miss a few if I'm on set or traveling. So that's always a great way. But social media, I'm always very present on Instagram, and I love my Chicago market. For me, I live in New York and LA. I fly to Chicago to get a facial. I fly to Chicago to get any spa services. So I know the talent that is there, and I'm excited to be there with you guys and celebrate my Midwest makeup family.
Well, we're excited to have you. Thank you so much, James, for taking time out of your extremely busy schedule and joining
Thank you.
Glamour and Brains today.
Thank you. I'm sorry I'm such a talker.
Oh, no, no, this is a great, great, great show. And I know people are going to be excited after listening to it.
Thank you, babe. Thank you for considering me and for taking the time to talk to me.
All right.
And thank you to your listeners.
Are you in network marketing and having a hard time earning mid-six figures? Well, check out my book, Secrets of a Six-Figure Earning Network Marketing Diva, and read how a homeless single mother went from zero to making mid-six figures working from home. Hey guys, I'm giving it away for free for a very, very, very limited time to everyone who joins the Glamour and Brains mailing list by going to www.glamourandbrains.net. Go over there and grab your free copy of Secrets of a Six-Figure Earning Network Marketing Diva and start earning today. Thank you to all our glams for listening. Please subscribe, rate, and review on iTunes. Also, go to glamourandbrains.net and join our mailing list to get lots of freebies and leave me comments. Also, visit www.simplebeautynaturals.com for all your vegan cosmetics and natural skincare needs.